Hey everyone, I am heading off to the Azores for a dive trip, and while I pack up, I figured I would show you what's in my dive bag. But not just that, I'm also going to walk you through what I'd recommend buying first as a newer diver. There's a lot of gear out there and not everything is worth investing in, and I'm going to pack in order of what I'd invest in first. Starting with the bag. I think this is one of the most common places people can get ripped off. Honestly, there are so many dive bags out there, and I do not think this is actually a necessary piece of kit. You are more than welcome to disagree with me in the comments if there's a dive bag you really like, but if you're getting started, a normal suitcase, a mesh bag, a duffel bag, anything that carries your gear safely and securely is going to do the trick. The first piece of dive gear that I'd actually buy would be a mask. A foggy mask can literally wreck a dive. It can also be very stressful if you can't see. Masks can also be used on snorkel trips. They can be used for a variety of different activities. So if you're not diving all the time but you love the water, a good mask is going to be really transferable through a variety of different activities. Advanced trick, make sure to remove the film that is on the inside of the mask. You won't see it, but your mask might fog the first several dives you go on, and this can be a really frustrating experience as a newer diver. Ask the shop if they can use, for example, the lighter trick works really well to remove that. You might have to burn a new mask a few times. And of course, only do this if you've bought a mask with a glass lens. Obviously, plastic and fire could be a bit of a mess. We want to avoid that. And make sure you ask someone who knows what they're doing so that you avoid wrecking something that is a new purchase. Getting a good mask is a really, really good place to start. I personally think after mask, your next best bet is to buy your own personal dive computer. Way better than relying on rental tables or gauges. Now, dive computers can be quite costly, but this is a piece of equipment that's going to help you understand your depth. It's going to give you so much more awareness to your dives, and it's also crucial for safety. It tracks your dives and measures them and builds profiles based on essentially your diving specifically. Absolutely a fantastic piece of equipment that really will give you so much more context when you're diving, and then also a great way to track and ensure your dives are getting logged too. If you are going to be doing night diving, or in general, if you're going to be experimenting with photography, etc., or you want just an added piece of safety equipment, having a dive light with you is also going to be very beneficial early days. There are varying dive lights. You don't necessarily need the most expensive one, but I would say early on this can bring a lot of help if ever you find the visibility drops or you get into a darker situation. The next gear that I will recommend is a little bit less mission critical, a little bit more for comfort. Fins! Fins that fit your feet and diving style. There are a variety of types. Some are better at handling different conditions as well. I personally enjoy these fins by Scuba Pro. I've had them for years and they've always just been really comfortable for me. With that style of fins, however, you do have to buy boots as well. My boots have seen better days. Well used. And SMB, or a surface marker buoy. This is something that is mandatory to have as part of the Dive Master program, but it's also really great to have and get a little bit familiar with throughout your courses when you're training and diving. A surface marker buoy is going to allow you to inflate a tube when you are at the surface, indicating that you are ready to be picked up by the boat. I think it's also a really great thing to have as a safety device, because if ever you are in the event that you do get separated from the guide and you do need to flag to a boat or nearby boats that you are ready for pickup, it can be really beneficial to have, as it allows boats to see you a lot easier. Then I'd recommend a really good wetsuit. Depending on the rentals, you can find wetsuits in varying sizes. They can fit, not fit, be well used, be brand new. There's so many varying wetsuits. It can also be hard to know in terms of thickness what weights are best to use for the wetsuit that you have in mind. So finding a wetsuit that works for you is definitely going to be a game changer if you're looking for added comfort. I will say though, because of the temperatures across the world, sometimes it can just be easier to rent because you don't know which style of wetsuit you need. For me, I found a 5mm has carried me through a lot of different diving conditions around the world. And for the colder dives that I have done, and also for the Azores, I will be bringing an underlayer to put underneath the wetsuit as well, just to add a little bit more warmth to my core on the colder dives. The last few pieces of gear here are definitely higher cost and a later investment. I wouldn't go this route unless you are getting into professional diving, if you're going to be actively working in the diving industry or diving regularly throughout the year around the world. Regulator. It's definitely a higher cost option, but honestly, having a regulator that you know and trust can be absolutely beneficial. I will say using different regulators can get you comfortable with a few things. You can learn both what it's like to read from bar as well as PSI, depending on where you're diving from. You can also experiment with both a DIN regulator as well as a yoke regulator, which is really good to understand as well. But if you are going to be purchasing a regulator, this is definitely getting into the professional or regular diving territory. So do not feel that you need this until you are actively going to be diving on a regular basis. If you are using a DIN regulator, I would recommend also buying an adapter just to make sure. I've gotten into situations where there have been some on the boat or there haven't been, and just having one in your bag packed with your regulator can help make sure that you're not going to be blocked from a dive because you can't connect your regulator to the tank. Next up, we have a BCD. If you travel a lot or you do cold water diving, make sure you find a BCD that fits over top of all of the equipment that you might be diving in. Wetsuit is a lot thinner, of course, than a cold water dry suit, and just make sure sizing that you're ready for both. Little tip that I saw from experienced liveaboard divers: if you are going on a liveaboard or a dive trip where you have a lot of the same gear, a lot of the weight pockets out there look very similar. So it is a good idea to tack on something that allows you to know that it is yours, so that you don't mix up weight pockets with someone else. That can lead to some sketchy situations where you're under or overweighted if you accidentally picked up the wrong ones from the group weight pile before getting into the water. And then lastly, a few things that are absolutely not required but can make your dive trip a little bit more comfortable. Making sure you come equipped with some medications in case there are any issues on your dive. That can look like ear drops or nasal spray, throwing in a dry bag so that you have something to put your phone in or anything that you don't want to get wet while on the boat. A logbook if you are still using pen and paper to log your dives. And then of course cameras, extra batteries, and your housing for them as well. So all in all, if you are just starting out, don't feel you need to buy everything right away. Renting can really help you get a sense of the gear that you want before you make those large investments. Let me know in the comments what the first piece of gear was that you bought and if you think it was worth it or if you have any regrets. If you have any recommendations for newer divers as well, I'd love to hear about it. And next up, as mentioned, is Azores Europe's biggest dive destination or the best kept secret within the diving industry? I am so excited to find out. So keep an eye out for the next video where I'll be updating you and taking you there with me. See you again soon.